All right. Sometimes this is easier than it looks, and sometimes it's not. And tonight, it's not. But it looks like we're on the air and we are on the live stream simultaneously, hopefully without that awful buzz that I can hear. And I've got to mute that. Let me see if I can find that muter. And right there we go. Okay, sorry about that. I think we are in a good spot to kick this thing into gear. So thanks for waiting patiently while I sorted those technical issues out. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Easy for me to say. Tonight I'll be working off the flagship 675 repeater, and this evening we are linked in with the following machines: Lookout Mountain, Somerville, McDonough, Noonan, Jersey, Columbus, Zebulon, and the famous Moreland machine, as well as the VoIP service, also known as Zello. Tonight our RF coverage is approximately 31,000 square miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is this fumbling, bumbling fool, Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin, and I'm located at Studio B here in Woodstock, Georgia. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you'd think we'd like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Let me break. Okay, let's see if we can smooth this thing out a little bit. We got all of our technical issues under control. At this time, I will acknowledge our early check-ins. We've got a little stack of them here, so let's go through that really quick. Most of these are in and out, so I'm just going to, we're just going to call them all in and out unless I say otherwise. How about that? Might save a half a minute. We have Chattanooga 58 Bill in Lookout Mountain. McDonough 32 Lance in McDonough. We have Atlanta 47 Todd is also in and out. We have 657 Sam in Canton. We have WRNN 790 John has checked in and out with us this evening. We have Atlanta 810 John in Dawsonville out for a night ride at Jeep Fest, in and out. We have Atlanta 285 CV Smith and Atlanta 286 Lynn, both in Murrayville. We have Atlanta 402 Todd in Cumming. We have Atlanta 738 Carl in Ackworth. We have Atlanta 253 Donald in Blairsville. And we have Atlanta 747 Don in Blairsville. Don is the first one that is logged in tonight and not an in and out. We have Atlanta 123 Tim in Woodstock getting a margarita. He's in and out tonight. We have Noonan 25 Joe at Dragon Con, also in and out. We have Atlanta 287 Trey in Murrayville is going to stick around and talk tonight. We have Atlanta 102 Mike in Woodstock, in and out. McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge. Atlanta 91 Eric in Maumelle, Arkansas, in and out. We have 172 Greg in Bremen. Thank you for that countdown, by the way, Greg. I was kind of hoping you were going to go all the way through it, but that was cool nonetheless. Greg is in and out. Atlanta 516 Ray in Canton, in and out. Atlanta 671 John in Ball Ground. I've got you in the log, John. Looking forward to talking with you. Atlanta 721 David in Southwest Paulding County. Looking forward to talking with you here in just a little bit. We have Chattanooga 100 Bob in Ringgold, in and out. And we have Atlanta 417 William in Auburn. Looking forward to talking with you, William. Atlanta 299 Steve in Roswell. Looking forward to talking with you, Steve. And Atlanta 180 Mike in Jerry Log. That's our early bird roundup. Let me break. So I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to check in early. At this time, we're going to go ahead and accelerate the check-in process because we've got so many of them in the books already. And we're going to say, hey, any repeater, anywhere. We're taking check-ins from any repeater, anywhere, including brand new users, first-time check-ins, anyone who is a licensed GMRS user but would like to check in as a guest, and any youth members who would like to check in are welcome to call Net Control at this time. Net Control standing by.
Okay. 749. This is Noonan. This is Atlanta 760 WRMX 270 checking in. We'll hope to catch up with the group next week.
WRMC 853, Atlanta 252, Shad checking in from Emerson, Georgia.
Okay, Chattanooga 50, WRFS 617.
WRM 8799, Atlanta 312, Stacy checking in.
This WRMG 494, Atlanta 292, Derek in Rockmart.
WRMS 210, McDonough, new. Control, on the Zello, WRAG 241, Atlanta 403, Bobby, White County. Checking in and out, monitoring live feed audio is 100%, live feed video is choppy, very choppy. Atlanta 403, in and out.
All right, I see what you're saying about choppy video there, Bobby. I'm not sure there's anything I can do about it tonight. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing.
WRKY 680, Chad in Adairsville, checking in. This is Atlanta 760, WRMX 270 from Cleveland.
Okay, we had a bit of a pile up there with several folks checking in on top of several other folks, and I have incomplete log entries just trying to keep up with that mess. But let's see if we can sort this out. I might need your help along the way. But at this time, I have Atlanta 749, Craig from Douglasville. Is that right? Yes, that looks like that's correct. I have Noonan 29, Marty in Tyrone. Marty, I heard Noonan 29, and I heard catch up with you next week. That is all that I heard from you. You got walked on 7 different ways. But I got you in a log, Marty, as in and out, and I hope you have a great week. Looking forward to catching up with you soon. And I need to correct that. Okay, so Next on my list is Atlanta 252 Shad in Emerson. You came right through strong and clear, right, without walking on, folks, and a good clean copy there. Also have Chattanooga 50. I didn't get a name. Let me see if I can find that real quick. It looks like that's Jeff in, how do you say, is that Whitwell, Tennessee? Jeff, I've got you in here, and I'm going to show you in, and if that's not right, we'll fix it later. So thank you, Jeff, for that check-in. Next, I have Atlanta 312 Stacy, also in Emerson. Thank you for the check-in, Stacy. Looking forward to talking with you here in just a little bit. And we have Atlanta 292 Derek in Rockmart. Thank you for the check-in, Derek. Looking forward to catching up with you here in a bit. And we have WRMS 210. I didn't catch a name. I heard you say that you're from McDonough. I'm assuming that you are a new user. And do you have a TAC number, or are you just checking in as a guest? WRMS 210. All right, last station, good clean carrier, almost no audio. I could not make any of that out, even with these fancy headphones. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Next, we have Atlanta 403, Bobby in White County. Bobby, I see what you're saying. I don't know why it's doing that. I would have to probably reboot machines, and we're not going to be able to fix that. So I guess we're stuck with whatever this mess is. Hopefully the audio is good, and that's all we're going to get out of it tonight. And because of the way that I'm connected, and that might be why it's doing what it's doing, but because of the way I'm connected, I'm not going to be able to show the log on the live stream tonight. So unfortunately, you're stuck looking either at a logo page or my mug. But since I'm frozen anyway, maybe it doesn't matter. So thank you for your heads up there, Bobby. Next on my list, I have missed the tactical unit number, but I had Chad in Adairsville. Chad, can you come back with your TAC number, please? All right, Atlanta 800, Chad in Adairsville. I've got you in log as in and out. And I have Atlanta 760, Tony. Let's see, where is Tony? Tony is in one of those places that I can't pronounce, I think. Let's see what that says. That is Sati Nakuchi, Georgia. I think that is right. Tony's checked in with us before, and looking forward to talking with Tony again this evening. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and take another break for any additional check-ins before we kick this thing into gear.
Control Atlanta 292.
292, go ahead, Derek.
Forgot to mention a while ago, I'll be in and out this evening also.
All right, I've made that correction. In log, thank you for that. Any other check-ins? Net control standing by. All right, last station, completely unreadable. I couldn't make out any of that. You'll have to get to a better location and try that again.
This is Atlanta 750, WRMR 367, Jeff in Waleska, checking in.
All right, I've got Atlanta 750, Jeff in Waleska. So I was thinking of a series of topics that we might cover, and what came to mind was let's talk one night about base radio stations, and we'll talk another night about mobile radio stations, and then we'll finish this thing up with HTs. So through the first part of September, I figure we'll just talk about our radios. Anything in general or specific that you want to talk about? Any questions that you might have? Any plans or hopes and desires? What's your wish list for your Radio Shack? Tonight we're talking about fixed operating positions. So not your truck, not your HT, unless you use the HT from the Easy Chair, like Tim in Stockbridge often does. Instead of using a base radio station, he's got a good enough propagation with his HT into the McDonough repeater that's all he uses, and he usually sounds pretty good doing it. And so I guess in that circumstance we could qualify him as a fixed operating position. However, I would prefer we save that conversation for HTs and talk strictly about base radio installs, a mobile as a base, or even if you have one of the very few base radios that are made for GMRS, the UHF radios that will cover GMRS. Let's talk about that and your antenna systems. So with that, I want to jump right away and see if we can get Atlanta 180 in here before conditions deteriorate on us, and see if Mike has any comments for the net, and if he has any hopes and dreams for his fixed operating position.
Hello, Joseph. Thank you for allowing me to break line. We all know that when it's dark up here, so does my signal. My operating position has been precarious. Let me take a break. For some time now, I have used 400 or 500 hours, more powerful radios better, just to make things better. I have finally decided that I'm not going to move in location, and I'm getting very close to the perfect location to the repeater, and it pleases me. Take another break. I'm looking forward to that new repeater coming online. I will relate to it, hopefully, before it finishes. Thank you for allowing me to break line. As many of you know, I've got some really bad legs. My doctor insisted that I never my car tag the handicap, and it has helped appreciably. So after last week, I took one of those handicap tags off and clipped it on my microphone. Later in the week, I decided that I might be running something there. When I changed the microphone, maybe that was the solution problem. After all, I do. But thank you for allowing me to jump in the other line. My advice about location is move to a better place. Hello, network. This is Atlanta 180 clear. Thank you, Joseph.
Well, I appreciate your sentiments there, Mike. Yes, location is the big thing here, and I think Atlanta 403 would also attest. You know, he's got just that marginal slice of real estate that makes it really tough for him to get in. Once he jumps in the pickup truck and he's mobile, he's able to get in pretty reliably, but he has trouble making it into the repeater from his home, from his QTH. So, yeah, that is a tough predicament to have, and it can happen to any of us. You know, Cherry Log is considerably closer to the flagship machine than I am, but between you and the machine, there's things in the way that just aren't very cooperative to getting you in there. So yeah. the linking for Blue Ridge, I hope that gets finished up here in the next couple of weeks, and we can bring the Blue Ridge machine into the family of linked North Georgia GMRS repeaters, and I'm really excited about that potential expanded coverage. I have kind of, well, I've been busy around here, and I just haven't gotten to it. But I'm excited about a little antenna project here, and that is to stand up a fourth mast, and I want to go a little bit taller on this one. And I've got a 3-element Yagi I intend to point towards Blue Ridge in hopes that Blue Ridge will be my secondary path into the network. And my intention is to have a way to manually rotate that Yagi, and if I can't get into Blue Ridge and Flagship, then I want to be able to turn it around and point it towards Somerville and be able to get into that one. Somerville will eventually become Rome, but until they turn us off at Somerville, we're going to keep using it. So, and we're hoping that we can get Rome stood up before any of that happens. So we're just going to call it Somerville for the time being. Let me break.
May I break back in, Justin? One of the reasons that I'm so looking forward to the Blue Ridge repeater, I'm even willing to shave my head so I can be more like McDonough 22. Sit on the front porch with my radio oddity GM30 and talk to the men on Thursday night. You just have no idea how cool that's going to be.
Ah, yes. You know, and I'm, you know, that whole shave your head thing, I could get into that. And I've been thinking about that Radiodity radio. That's got my curiosity piqued. So I don't need another radio, and I don't need another HT. But sometimes it's not about what you need; it's about what you want. And so I'm thinking about acquiring one of those. But good stuff, Mike, and glad we were able to get you in here and be able to hear you this time. So we might have to take that into consideration until Blue Ridge is in full swing. All right, then. I've got to scroll my page up so I can see who's next. Oh, no, I don't, because all of those folks checked in and out. But let's go through them again, because I think it's a big deal. Maybe I'm the only one, but I think a big part of checking into a net like this is being able to hear your name called out, even if you're not on the program to talk. So I like to be sure I go through everybody's name, not only on the acknowledgments, but as we go through the program. So let's jump right up to the top here. Even though he's in and out, we're going to call out to Chattanooga 58 Bill on the Lookout Mountain Machine. Thank you, Bill, for checking in and out tonight. McDonough 32 Lance in McDonough. Thank you, Lance, for checking in and out tonight. Atlanta 47 Todd has checked in and out tonight. Todd, I hope you feel better very, very soon. Atlanta 657 is busy tonight, but he took the time to check in and out from Canton. We have WRNN 790. John is in and out tonight. Thank you, John, for checking in. It's great to have you on the air, and hope that you're able to monitor and enjoy the program tonight. We have Atlanta 810. John in Dawsonville is busy with the Jeep Fest night ride tonight, but hopefully he'll be able to monitor through the night. He didn't think he'd be able to come on the air when it was his time, and in light of all the activities that's going on there, that's probably the best. We have Atlanta, easy for me to say, we have Atlanta 285. CV Smith from Murrayville in and out tonight, as well as Atlanta 286. Lynn in Murrayville in and out this evening. We have Atlanta 402. Todd incoming in and out. We have Atlanta 738. Carl in Ackworth in and out. We have Atlanta 253. Our friend Donald up in Blairsville is in and out tonight. And that brings us to Atlanta 747, our first in check in this evening to stick around and talk with us. Don in Blairsville. Don, what do you have planned for your fixed operating position? Do you have any dreams to make improvements there, or intentions or plans? or are you good to go as you said?
Atlanta 6747 here. Well, I'm in my mobile right now. The rig is a Kenwood NX 820 for the GMRS band, and I've visited antenna farms and groomed over a comet antenna that I think I'm going with omnidirectional, and I'm also building let me cycle it here. I'm building a 7-element beam. I don't have a SWR down yet, but I'm just trying to get another mast up here without WIFE. Seeing the house, it doesn't like for the house to look like a 40%. So I want to try to get the another antenna up. So back to you, over.
All right. Yes, the NX800 is the radio that I have in my vehicle as well. It sounds like you've got the 820. I'm not sure what all the differences are, but I can tell you for sure that is way more radio than than you really need for GMRS. Now, my radio is stuck in narrowband. Is that the same with the NX820?
Programmed to wide band, and the reason I got it is for the 440, 70 centimeter cam frequencies, as well as monitoring local power coming in when the power is out, and then I can put on like some direct cam frequency going in at the end. So, for a lot of people, it's a big risk, but not too much of a risk, but it serves as perfect for me. We want to bring, let me cycle here. We want to bring GMRS operations into town groups here in the mountains of North Georgia, so it's just something that I got in the background, but that's I have several reasons for having this radio, and also communication and research. So it's a great radio for me. It has 45 watts, and I can sit in my driveway with a 4.5 gain antenna and get in the flagship.
Very nice, very nice. And the Comet antenna, the 712 ECF, EFC, CF, I can't remember the initials. I've got the 712 Comet is what I'm using right now for net control, and it's a high gain antenna. It's probably way more than I actually need to be able to get into flagship, because on my daily use radio, I'm just using a little Ed Fong antenna, and that seems to do the trick quite well. But we wanted to have a radio with a little more punch to be able to get over the top of any of the local noisemakers that might be playing games here in the neighborhood. So we could put a little extra power in there and a little gain on the antenna, and hopefully you can't hear any of the folks here in the neighborhood that tend to play on the radio at this time of night. Usually they're done by now, but in any case, we do try to make sure we can get over the top of that. And yeah, building the 7-element beam is something that I would love to start building some of my own antennas. I know that Jesse Goforth, let's see, Atlanta 170, I think. His working hours kind of prohibit him from being able to participate in the nets, but he loves to build antennas and has built several and given them away to various members. So that's pretty cool stuff. So yes, building antennas. I know that Atlanta 780 has built a handful of antennas. as well. So that's something that we could probably all learn a thing or two just by going through the practice. Next on my list is Atlanta 123, Tim in Woodstock, 200 miles on the motorcycle, and he said he's going to go get a margarita. So I don't ride a bike, but 200 miles sounds like a lot. Yeah, go get that beverage and enjoy. Noon and 25, Joe in Fayetteville is also in and out tonight. He is at Comic-Con and checking in from Atlanta on an HT. So that's a great check-in, Joe. Glad to have you in the mix tonight. It's surprising that you were able to get a night off from the 4 different nets that you're typically on a Thursday night. Three of them plus this one sometimes. So he's a very busy radio guy, and glad he was able to take some time to enjoy some of the other family activities that I know he engages in a lot. Next on my list is Atlanta 287, Trey in Murrayville. Trey, do you have plans to put together a fixed operating position radio station at your residence? And what are your hopes and dreams?
Yes, sir. 947, 946. I'm working on a space station as we speak. Working on a temporary right now. Working on a space station.
Well, you know, I think a temporary station is a great place to start. I know that we have operated from several different locations within the house here before we settled on Studio B. And you know, when we first started the net, we started operating out of a spare bedroom, and that worked out really well. But then we wanted to turn that bedroom back into a bedroom. I had temporarily set up a desk in there so that I could do some railroad work from home. This was way before the COVID thing, when, you know, working from home became a long-term thing. But at that time, there were plenty of times that I would come home from work and then sit down at the desk here and continue my work. We were in a big push to get a lot of stuff done to meet some deadlines that were imposed upon us by Congress. We accomplished those goals, but a lot of that was because I was able to bring work home. So we had a radio station set up in that room at that time. And we later decided we wanted to restore that as a bedroom. And so we moved that radio station out of that bedroom and into our master bedroom. Put it up on a small desk and ran coax out through the window using a pass-through device that you can just raise the window up, and then you cut a board to length and you wrap some weather strip around it, and then you just slide the window down over the top of it. And it's got fittings on it that you can run coax through the window and grounding and whatnot. And we operated that way for probably about a year. And then when kids moved out of the house and we had space available down here at this end of the house, we went ahead and capitalized on this what used to be a bedroom and turned this into Studio B. So temporary is a great idea because it'll give you a feel for what you want to do, you know, in the long term. So good luck with your station, Trey, and you know, if there's one thing that I wish that I'd spent more money and time on, it would be grounding. I wish that I had a better grounding system in here, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with the arrangement that we have. So good stuff. I just wish that the YouTube live stream would behave for us this evening. All of the lights are green. And everything looks like it should be working, but it's not. I can see from my YouTube viewing instance that it's not working. So that's a bit of a disappointment. We'll have to research that and see if we can figure out what's going on. Next on my list is Atlanta 102, Mike, right here in Woodstock. Mike is in and out with us this evening. I also have McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge, in and out this evening. Thanks, Tim, for your check-in. I have Atlanta 9-1 Eric in Maumelle, Arkansas, in and out tonight. I have Atlanta 172 Greg in Bremen, in and out tonight. And we have Atlanta 516 Ray in Canton, also in and out, unpacking, I would bet. We have Atlanta 671 John in Ballground. John, do you have any fixed operating location plans for your residents? Any improvements you'd like to make to your base station?
Well, to be honest with you, I ended up buying one of the BTEC 50-watt units. Some people hate them. I've had good luck with it, and I haven't put up an official antenna map yet, but I figure that's my next step.
And being right there in ball ground, getting into flagship doesn't require a whole lot, and a simple antenna installation may be adequate. One challenge that I would suggest is that you endeavor to be able to hit more than one repeater. In the event that we have a repeater that fails, because it could be a lightning strike, it could be a component failure, it could be any of a number of things that can take a repeater out. And if that's the only repeater that you can hit, then you're out as well until we're able to get up there and make repairs. So, and that sometimes isn't necessarily immediate. Being a bunch of volunteers, getting to a site to make repairs often depends on when I have time to do it or when Gary has time to do it. So we may not be able to just drop everything and run up there and evaluate what the trouble is and get it back up and running in hours or minutes. It may end up being days, or in some cases we've had machines down for a couple of weeks. So if you can hit more than one machine, that's to your benefit. So you've got a great signal into flagship now. So one of the things that you might consider is, what does it take to be able to get a good signal into another repeater? Obviously you can hit ball ground, but that's not linked. So I would suggest taking a look at the map and picking out a machine and building a station that can reliably hit more than one repeater. So that's my recommendation, John, and good luck with that. And if you're talking on that BTEC this evening, sounds just fine. So ultimately, that's what we're looking for. It doesn't matter how much we paid for our radio or what brand name is on it. What really matters is how well we're able to get out and how clearly we can be heard when we do. So good stuff, John. With that, I'm going to move on to Atlanta 721 David in southwest Paulding County. David, my suspicion is that you're going to talk about a tower.
Good evening, Justin. You are correct. I've lucked into a 40-foot Roan tower from one of our construction sites. It's an old police station that's closing down. It has closed down. We're turning into a museum. So I should be getting that tower in about a month or so. So as soon as I get that down here, I'll get that up. It'll put the top of the tower at 14 foot above my roof line, and I'm also going to be going to the Comet 712. So I'll put it at another, 10 feet above, so 24 feet above the roof line. It's not bad. And then I'm running on a Kenwood 880 standard 25 watt now on a 5-element Yagi that I picked up on eBay for $100. So you're right, you don't have to spend a lot of money. The antenna cost me $40. Matter of fact, I started off on North Georgia GMRS with a 4-watt handheld hooked up to the Yagi. So yeah, good times are coming.
Yes, and there's no end to money that you can spend, but in my mind, spending money on something as interesting as the radio hobby is just, there's no end to fascination in how these things work and how to make them work better. And sometimes you can find stuff that works really, really well. One thing that I've learned is there's places where you can spend money well, and places where you can waste money well. And so I bought a number of adapters and connectors along the way. Many of them I purchased off of Amazon, some of them from other sources, but all of them were cheap. And I've had trouble with cheap connectors. When I need to adapt from an N to a 259 or a 239, I've got a bucket full of those adapters, and a lot of those are just junk. They're fine the first time they're used, but they tend to break pins and things like that when you disassemble them. I've seen corrosion in them when I've taken them apart. So that's one place that I would suggest it might not be worth saving $1 when it comes to buying adapters and connectors. That's one area that I recommend, based on my experience, that you spend a little bit more money and buy a better product, buy the best product that you can afford, and then you can avoid some of those issues. So I think I have one of those issues going on right now with a cheap lightning arrestor on my TK880 here that I use for my daily radio use. I've noticed that it's been getting hot. When I look at the SWR from the back of the radio out to the antenna, it's very, very good. It's 1.2, but I think that's not the whole story. So the antenna analyzer shows a really odd sort of a slithering snake path. Although the SWR still looks good, there seems to be something amiss in the feed line to that antenna. I could explain it better if I understood it better, but all I can really say is my bet is I'm going to get in there and I'm going to find that it's that cheap lightning arrestor that I've used. I need to replace that with a polyphaser or something equivalent, or it's going to be one of those cheap adapters is still in that circuit, and I haven't found it and pulled it out yet. So that's my recommendation. As you're buying things, be careful of the cheap connectors. Let me break. Next on my list is Chattanooga 100, Bob in Ringgold. Bob was in and out this evening, but appreciate your check-in tonight, Bob, and thanks for listening in. Next on my list is Atlanta 417, William in Auburn. William, do you have any plans or dreams or hopes and desires for your fixed operating position?
Yeah, right now, Justin, I'm using a VTEC 50 watt like the gentleman before. And what I've done is my back patio is about 20 feet off the ground. On top of that, I put a Harbor Freight tower extension, whatever you want to call it, on that. And then an antenna off of Amazon. And so far, I think it's working pretty good.
So that Harbor, is that the flagpole that you got from Harbor Freight with the each section extends out of it? What you call the telescoping flagpole? Is that what that is? I'm not sure. Maybe I walked on you there. Can you come back with what that tower that you got from Harbor Freight is?
That's Roger. It's actually a flagpole.
Okay.
It's an extended flagpole. It's about 20 feet.
Very interesting. Yes, in fact, I was at Harbor Freight today, and I looked at that telescoping flagpole because I want to put a flagpole in the front yard. But yeah, I could see where that might be a handy way to raise an antenna. My neighbor Gary, Atlanta 948, has this coolest thing. He's a retired lineman from the power company, and he has this coolest thing. It's a fiberglass pole, telescopes. So the whole thing collapses down into a tube that's about 4 inches round and 4 feet long, but it will telescope out to about 35 feet. And it has different fittings that you can put on the end. It has a little pruning saw you can put on there, and you can cut tree limbs way, way, way up high. It has the electric utility tools that you can use to trip the fuse holders, the circuit breaker thing, right there at the transformer, so you can open and close those circuits and be able to replace those fuses using various tools on the end of that long stick. And I've often thought that would be a neat way to deploy an antenna. However, those things are crazy expensive to buy if you're not an electric utility. Maybe they're expensive for the utility to buy as well, but Gary got a hold of one because it didn't pass whatever inspection, and it wasn't suitable to use on the utility anymore. So he said, well, you know what, I'm going to take that one home and use it to trim trees, and they said, here you go. So that's a cool tool that he has, and could be a great way to get an antenna considerably higher than your typical flagpole will extend. But yeah, that's a great idea to use that Harbor Freight flagpole as a 20-foot mast. And when you can start off of a balcony or a deck that's already 20 feet in the air, that helps. Height is might, I've often heard said, so that can make a large difference in terms of how your signal can propagate. Good stuff, William. Thanks for chiming in with that this evening. Next on my list is Atlanta 299, Steve in Roswell. Steve, do you have any improvements you'd plan on making to your fixed operating position?
Well, hi, Justin, and everybody out there. Been sort of out of GMRS for a little while, sort of involved in the ham community. Right now, I just got my GMRS rig running again today, actually, and what I am using is a TK8180 running about 40 watts. And strangely enough, I mean, I'm running it through my Diamond X300, which is a 2-meter 440 ham antenna, which is what I use that for normally. And with that particular antenna, the SWR is about 1.5, and that I guess it seems to be working okay. It seems to be, it's an omnidirectional antenna rather than the 5-element beam that I used before, but this is the only repeater that I've tried to get into. As far as the fiberglass poles and things like that you were talking about, there's a company in England called Soda Beams. And then another company called MFJ that makes a lot of ham equipment that makes fiberglass poles specifically for antenna use, and they're not too expensive, I guess. But mainly, I've got I've got a whole ham shack here. I've got the FTM 400 2-meter 440. I've got a 991 Alpha, all band, all mode, 2-meter 440 HF, and then I've also got the FTDX10 HF 6-meter HF radio with an assortment of HF antennas and wires running all through the trees. But it's good to be back on here, and it's good to hear you guys again. And I want to say my ham call sign, KO4VW, but it's Atlanta 299.
Oh, yes. You know, and you spend too much time on GMRS, you'll start giving your GMRS call when you're on the ham bands, and they're probably not as forgiving as we are. But real quick, the Soda Beam, that fascinates me to a degree. Now, many folks here may not realize what SOTA is, and SOTA stands for Summits on the Air. And so a SOTA beam, in my mind, without knowing anything specific about the antenna that Steve is talking about, this would be probably an antenna that is very lightweight and can be folded up in some way, that it can be carried in a pack, so you can hike up a mountain and then activate your station from a mountaintop. It might not seem like what you're going to use for a fixed operating position, but if it's a good antenna, it can be used as a base antenna as well. So let's talk just a little bit about SOTA and that SOTA beam. Is that something that would fit into GMRS bands, or is that specifically tuned for HF?
Well, Soda Beams is really a company more than a particular product.
Okay.
And they make quite a few different antennas, all the way from in-fed linked antennas, to where you just would use an alligator clip to link it to change frequencies to tune it. But most of it's all ham related. But they make the fiberglass poles, and they mainly use those to hoist one end of the wire antenna, say a 20 meter or a 40 meter antenna into the air. But you can hoist anything into the air with those poles, and they fold up just exactly what we're talking about. In the ham community, SOTA and POTA, which is Parks on the Air, are two very big things that people go and activate summits and parks, and there are all kinds of awards and things like that. It's a lot of fun. That's the way I broke my ground into Morse code, was with making POTA contacts. Back to you.
Well, good stuff. And I would suggest, if anybody has further questions on SOTA or POTA or any other ham topics that we've raised this evening, go ahead and ask the question on the Facebook page. And one way or the other, someone with knowledge in that field will definitely chime in and try to answer your questions out there. So thank you, Steve, for that, and great to hear from you. Welcome back to North Georgia GMRS. Hope to hear you on the air some more. When is your next ham test?
Well, as you know, and some of the new people may not, I'm with the North Fulton Amateur Radio League. And I'm a VE, and we have the VE test sessions, which are normally the second Saturday of every month. And they're at Slopes Barbecue in Roswell, and this will be on 9/11, so it should be an easy day to remember. But you can go, if you would like to get your ham test. It costs $15, but you also get a full year's membership to the North Fulton Amateur Radio League with that, which is a real value. And so you can go to the NFARL.org. That's North Fulton Amateur Radio League.org, NFARL.org, and you can look on the activity sections, and where it says VE test session, you can do that. Just click there. All the information is there to contact my friend Ian in V4C to get set up. For whatever kind of test that you may want, whether it be your first technician's exam, which I encourage everybody to try to go for, or if you're already that, get your general. If you're a general, we'd love for you to become an extra, but love to see you there.
Well, good stuff, Steve, and appreciate your participation and your volunteering as a VE. And we do encourage our membership to continue to pursue radio arts in the way of amateur radio. So many opportunities, and one thing about amateur radio, it almost doesn't matter what you're into. If you're into Jeeps and off-roading, there's an application for amateur radio. If you're into running marathons and triathlons and that sort of health and fitness thing, ham radio operators volunteer at many of those events. If you're into science and exploration, there are countless ways that you can incorporate amateur radio into those things. If you like IT and data stuff, there are countless ways that you can move data through radio networks over the air and do different sorts of telemetry. There's just no end, literally no end to ways that you can use amateur radio in coordination with other interests and activities and hobbies. So search and rescue, holy cow, we could go on and on and on and still not cover everything. So anyone who has an interest in amateur radio, I definitely recommend and encourage you to pursue that interest. And one little trick that I would love to share with everyone that might not know, because I didn't know. When I sat down for my technician test, I didn't know I had no idea. My wife and I studied for the tech test, and we went in and we took the test together, and we both passed. That's why we have. That's why her call sign is one character different from mine. I am KN4HYN, and she is KN4HYM. But I didn't know that when you pass your technician test, they automatically hand you the next test, the general. Here, go ahead, try it. It's all covered in that same fee. It's not like you have to pay for another test. It's all $15, and you can pass the technician, or you can pass the technician in general, or you can be like Atlanta 1, 2, 3 and pass all three in one sitting. But I didn't know that they were going to give me the test for general as soon as I passed the technician. I missed it by one question. Had I studied general even just a little bit, I might have been able to walk out of there having both under my belt. So my encouragement is this, is that if you're studying for your technician license, do study and focus on your technician license, but also spend a little bit of time going through the material for general. A lot of it overlaps, and a lot of it reinforces the other. So the step between technician and general is very linear. The step between general and extra is very logarithmic. It's a big step. It's a big difference. So it's a much more challenging license to get. With that, thank you, Steve. And there again, if anybody has any questions about what we've talked about, feel free to. I think that bobbling in and out was me moving my finger on the button. Feel free to ask those questions in Facebook. We'll do our best to get you some answers. Next in my list is Atlanta 180, Mike in Cherry Log, but we've already spoken with Mike, so we're going to move right along to Atlanta 749, Craig in Douglasville. Craig, do you have any plans for updates or changes, or what's your plans for your fixed radio position?
Well, hello, Justin. Actually, this is my first GMRS radio. I've got a 2-meter 440 antenna on the roof. I hope it's actually transmitting good. It's actually my first time, so I hope it's coming over. Is it actually coming over good?
Oh, your audio is loud and crisp and clear. Just a little bit of hiss in the background, but man, good job. There's no crackling. It's just that little tiny bit of white noise behind you. So excellent, excellent. What radio is that?
It's actually a TYT.
Okay, all right. Well, that's interesting. I had one once. I still have it. It no longer works. I don't know why, but yeah. Well, that's fantastic that you've got such a great signal. You just have what antenna are you using?
It's some generic it's a 2-meter 440 antenna. It's 7 feet long. I got it on the roof of my house. It's about $100 off Amazon.
Yeah, sounds like you hit the jackpot. And there again, folks, we've talked about you don't have to spend big money on expensive components and expensive radios. Now, as time goes on, you'll probably upgrade here and there and along the way. Do you have any lightning protection installed on that network?
Yeah, I've got a copper rod in the ground with the little jack that you put on the coax that, I got some, I think it's 6 gauge, maybe 4 gauge, going down to the ground.
Okay, well then, you've covered the basics, it sounds like, so good stuff. And, there's no end. There's just no end to things. So one of the things that I found when I go to some of the commercial installations that we have on the railroad, I noticed that in all of those installations, there is about a 4-inch wide, I don't know what gauge it is, but it's this sheet copper strip that goes all the way around the top of the wall of the building. So from anywhere in the building, you have a copper 4-inch wide, whatever gauge thickness metal strip that goes all the way around the perimeter of the ceiling of the building. And then there's also one at the floor, at the bottom of the wall. And there's a couple of different ways that they go about getting around a door. Sometimes they just kind of come up and over and back down. Sometimes they kind of put it in the floor underneath the threshold. But there's various ways that they'll get through the door and maintain that copper ring, the halo on top, and then the ring on the floor. And they're bonded together every 4 feet typically. So when I put my grounding system in here, I didn't really have a good way to put a copper foil on the wall inside the studio, and I thought it would look dumb, and I knew that 947 wouldn't go for it. So what I ended up doing is in the attic out directly above the ceiling is I have some number 4 copper, just copper wire that just lays on top of those rafters under the insulation up there in the attic. Serves as that halo ring. I don't have one on the floor. I wish that I did. I plan on putting a floor in here at some point. I'm going to rip this carpet up, and we're going to put an LPV floor in. And when I do that, I think what I'll do is I'll put that ring in under that floor, so we can have a little additional protection and improve our grounding system. I just have to figure out how we're going to access it. Maybe I'll bring up some stubs every 4 feet or so, so that we can access that, and eventually have to figure out how to bond it to the halo above. But good stuff, Craig, and congratulations. So is this the first time that you've been on the net?
Yeah, it's my first time. I just joined a couple days ago, actually. I'm really excited about it.
Well, you've got a great signal, and you've got a great radio station right off the bat. That's something that some folks actually have to work at, but it's kind of fallen into your hands, and good job. So good stuff. Glad to have you in here, and glad to have you as a part of the North Georgia GMRS family. Hope to hear you on the air even more. Next on my list, I have Noonan 29 Marty in Tyrone. Marty is in and out this evening, but it's great to hear from you, Marty, and hope all is going well with you. And that brings me next to Atlanta 252 Shad in Emerson. Shad, do you have any fixed operating position plans to build a station, or are you already in one?
Kind of funny situation, Justin. Our base station is a 40-watt mobile with a 20-inch whip antenna clamped to the bumper. We have this set up so we can throw it in a truck if we have to skedaddle real quick.
Okay, so you've got the radio. You bring the radio in the house, but you leave the antenna connected to the vehicle. Is that what I'm getting?
No, sir. Everything is in the house, but we have it set up so if we have to move it in a hurry, we can.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not quite a bug-out box, but it's along that same concept, so that you can just grab it up and throw it in a vehicle and be able to be off in just a couple of minutes. That's a good plan. So you're operating a mobile radio, which all of my radios are mobile radios. So they're running off of a 60 amp power supply right here in the studio. I've got way more power. I've got a 200 watt HF radio, and I've got a bunch of 40 watt and a 25 watt radios. But I'm never operating more than one radio at a time. So 60 amps is kind of overkill. But that's what I've got, and that's what I run. So, but I'm guessing, are you running yours off of a battery, or do you have a power supply in the house and you've got it set up so you can quickly connect it to the vehicle battery?
We have it set up on a power supply in the house, and we can disconnect and hook it into the truck.
Excellent. All right. So that's good. That's a good setup, and that's something to keep in mind if you're going to use a single radio in both positions like that. It's certainly doable, and that's also a great way if you're just going to want to take that radio and go camping, or take that radio and go anywhere. And if you're going to be going someplace with a couple of vehicles, you can have the the mobile radio in one of the vehicles and an HT in the other one, and be able to simplex between the two of them pretty effectively. So good stuff. All right, Shad, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, it's kind of terrible to be back home. We actually enjoyed Jekyll Island, but it's good to talk to y'all.
Yeah, you know, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but the whole time you were talking about Jekyll Island, I had Tybee Island on my mind. So, I don't know. But anyway, you were talking about Jekyll Island. I was talking about Tybee Island. But glad you guys had a good time. All right, well, let's go next to Chattanooga 50. Jeff, let's see, I didn't catch where he was from, but we'll catch up with that while we're chatting. Jeff, do you have any plans to make improvements or additions to your fixed operating position? Chattanooga 50, are you still out there with us? All right, we're going to show Chattanooga 50 as in and out. Move right along. Next on the list is Atlanta 312, Stacy in Emerson. Stacy, I'm assuming you're using the same radio as Shad, but do you have any plans to upgrade your fixed operating position?
That's all in his department. I don't have nothing to do with that.
Well, I hear you there. Well, what else do you want to talk